Second.
Point of clarification in case there's some confusion over the numbers on the ordinance, because the agenda was amended with the new items being submitted, it was corrected, so it is 17-042.
Okay.
Or two.
Yes, item A under old business. Motion to table by trustee Muhammad, second by trustee House.
Can you call the roll?
Trustee Muhammad,
Aye.
trustee Stubbs,
Aye.
trustee House,
Aye.
trustee Dunn,
Aye.
trustee Pearson,
Aye.
trustee Henyard.
Aye.
B, sale of illegal cigarettes. This was put on by trustee Muhammad and trustee Pearson. Can you either one of you all want to elaborate on it?
Yes. Trustee Pearson and I have gotten calls from residents and also from business persons with the sale of what we call loosies. Loosies is referred to as loose cigarettes, and also cigarettes that are bought from businesses outside of Cook County and the state of Illinois. That's illegal. All the businesses aren't doing it, and this is a notice to the public and to those businesses that we are cracking down on this. The sale of loose cigarettes is illegal. The sale of cigarettes outside of the county of Cook and outside of the state of Illinois is illegal. What does that mean? That means that these business owners are purchasing cigarettes and not being responsible for the taxes that's due to not only the village but the county and the state. And we're putting those businesses on notice that they will be thoroughly watched, and we do have ordinances in place. And I believe, if I recall, and Trustee Pearson, you can help me, I think after the second or third offense that there is revocation or suspension of their license. But we're looking to shut them down for a long period of time so that we can make a statement, because we continue to get on social media, it's saying that these trustees are not doing anything to stop or quell the illegal selling of cigarettes. But as you all know, investigations take time. But we want to put businesses on notice that we are coming after you, and it is illegal what you're doing. Trustee Pearson?
Most of it, we are going to crack down, and what it does is the funds from the tax money is the money that's used to repair your streets and cut your trees and repair your sidewalks. So we are actively trying to pursue to stop this. They know who they are. Some of them have been spoken to, some of them have been fined before, but we will crack down on it. And as Trustee Muhammad said, it does take time to put things in place, but we will be trying to stop it. We are aware of what's going on. That's all I have.
Is that it? Thank you, gentlemen. The last board meeting in October, the trustees voted that last month was Mr. Urban's last month as a consultant with us. So I'm not sure what Mayor Riley wanted to do. So maybe you guys want to table it, or?
Yeah, I'll motion that we table that item.
Madam Mayor, I think the mayor was under the impression that the board had to vote to terminate the agreement, but there's no vote required because the agreement ended at the end of October, so
Absolutely.
there's really no action, it's over.
Okay, thank you so much for that clarification. Number 1 by Superintendent Stacy. We received your estimates.
Yes, I got the other estimates as requested, and as in the email that I sent you guys with the estimates.
I'm sorry, I can barely hear you.
Okay, I've gotten the other estimates as requested by the board. In my email to you guys, I have given you an outline of the estimates, and my recommendation would be to use Sutton Ford just because of the warranty that they're giving us. The other Fairfield or Freeway Ford wasn't giving us warranty, and the other one, Napleton River Oaks, we would have to send it out to get the boom removed on the truck and then take it back to them, which would cost us more money. So I got what the board requested, and I'll leave it up to you guys.
Is there any discussion?
Yes. Mr. Stacy, at the last meeting, when you submitted this invoice and we asked you to get 3, we appreciate that, but I believe there was a concern by Trustee Henyard concerning record keeping of the maintenance of vehicles. And we were invited to come and look at those records by yourself or the mayor, I'm not sure. I do remember the mayor saying we can go and look at the records because I believe Trustee Henyard wanted those records emailed, but we were told those files would be too large. So her and I visited the yard and we found there were no records kept of any of the vehicles except invoices that we found in notebooks, but there was no record or maintenance records on any of the vehicles. For example, the 2 that were being worked on by the diesel mechanics, the vehicles that are out of commission, the vehicle in question right now to pay this invoice for, I think, approximately, what, $18,000?
$16,000.
$16,000. My concern and Trustee Henyard's concern was that we did not see any detailed maintenance records of any of the vehicles. We asked around, we talked to your supervisor, and I think he informed us that he would send us some records, and this was about, what, a month ago, Trustee Henyard?
Yes, that's correct.
So could you respond to that?
Okay, I will get you the records. I know that the records were probably packed away from last year, and they have everything that they have is in their books in the office. What kind of records are you looking for? They keep track of everything that they do on the trucks and the notebooks and the receipts, because that shows what was purchased for the truck and all that. I'm not sure what you're looking for.
Okay, I'll take this, Trustee Henyard. What we asked for, what she asked for at the last meeting was some type of book that shows a maintenance log on the individual vehicles.
Okay,
We were
they
politely
have those-
greeted. We were politely greeted and taken into the office where these, quote, records are supposed to be. But when we looked through the large binders which had maybe, what, 3 to 10 sheets, there was nothing that detailed any vehicle maintenance records on any of those vehicles that's in that yard and being used by the village of Dolton. Not one.
That's correct.
Okay, I will go back tomorrow and I will get them all and I will get them for you.
Okay.
See, this is an issue because the last time you said the records were there. You told this board at the last meeting the records were there to observe. We went there and there were no records.
Okay, they didn't show you the records when you guys got there.
Your
They
supervisor.
called and told me that you were there. I was en route back and you guys were gone by the time I got back there. The records were probably, I had them clean out the file cabinets. They put all the records from the previous repairs upstairs. Now they have all binders with every truck labeled. Everything that we've been doing now for the past 3-4 months are in those books. These vehicles, our trucks, the diesels, don't get worked on every other day. If there's nothing wrong with them, they don't get worked on. Oil changes, those can go, it depends on when the trucks run. If the trucks only ran 30 miles or 100 miles in 3 months, you're not going to do an oil change on it. The records are there. They're upstairs. I will go and get them all for you. I will bring them to you. However you want them, I will get them for you.
Well, again, we were there. We talked to John, who was your supervisor, who also informed us that he would make sure that we had those records.
Okay, I will check with him
And
tomorrow.
we have yet to
get
see
back
it.
to you.
And you're saying you're going to bring them now, but you were informed that we were there. The mayor know that we were there. This board knows that we were there. And to this date, we have no record showing of the maintenance on any of those vehicles. Not one.
Right.
I'll take care of that for you tomorrow.
Does that satisfy you, Trustee Henyard?
It does not, because he should have had the records when we asked for them. Here it is, 2 meetings in, and we still don't have records. So I don't believe he had records. Me and you both went there. The binders was empty, so I don't know where the records are. I don't think they keep a maintenance log of the trucks. So that's my issue. But I guess we can talk about it in closed session.
Thank you. Any more questions?
I make a motion to authorize the payment for truck number 1 for Superintendent Stacy.
Second.
Can we get a vote? Any discussion? Any more discussion?
I just want to add that I definitely would like to see those maintenance records myself, so whenever they're presented, I'd like to take a look at them. I would like to offer any help and assistance in setting up these maintenance records if there is no program. I have an excellent program at my factory where I work, and we document anything that we do to a truck, whether it's add a bolt, change oil, send it out for repair. Every repair is documented, and we can easily go back and see the history of a vehicle. So if there's some help needed to do that, I'd like to offer that. If not, I'd like to see those records, because in these corporate bills that we pay today, there was a lot of service calls, sending stuff out to have work done on vehicles of the village that I think we should do in-house. I know that we don't have the mechanics to do this, but Matt Stacy Superintendent Stacy, I should say, should present what's needed to eliminate some of these outside bills, and whether that's add one mechanic or two mechanics. I know that we have a hiring freeze on, but we're spending the money anyway by sending the vehicles out for various repairs. And simple things we definitely shouldn't be sending them out for. But again, I'd like to make sure that you know that I offer any assistance that I can.
And I got one statement. This for all department heads. When anybody on this board asks you for anything, I need you guys to deliver it. We shouldn't have to wait 2 weeks into another board meeting to ask you guys for something we asked 2 weeks ago. That is my issue. My trust is gone as it relates to Superintendent Matt Stacy. Anything he tells us is always an issue or a problem. And that's a problem for me, because you're the department head. So when you tell us something, we vote on exactly what you guys say, because you're the department head. So I need you guys to get that in order before you come across this board, any department head. End of my statement.
I would like to make a suggestion. Also, Mr. Stacy, if you need my help, I'm willing to help also. What we did back in the day, every vehicle that was taken out, they had a log inside the vehicle where the person, before they pulled off, they checked to make sure their lights were working, etc., etc. And if you need some help, feel free to call on me, and I'm willing to help also. Thank you so much. That we want him to seek out for the grants for the streets and the grass cutting. And that's something that not necessarily grass or streets pavement, but the big dollars that every other town is getting. Whether you know it or not, I was just over in Riverdale last week, I believe, to a ribbon cutting ceremony where Mayor Lawrence Jackson received $7 million to do his infrastructure in his town. Now, I'm sure he had a great grant writer. He also had some county help, and we need some help in bringing revenue to this village. So I'm all for a grant writer, and I believe that a grant writer will pay their own salary in their own way. Thank you. That's what I have. Anybody else would like to comment?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Green.
Thank you.
Anybody else would like? Now we have union negotiations update. Trustee Muhammad.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. As we know, negotiations is going on with the, I believe, the lieutenants and sergeants, and also with AFSCME. Myself and Trustee House sat in on negotiations with AFSCME, I believe, last month, but I was not able to make the second meeting, and I will turn it over to Trustee House to give the update and the status of where we are with AFSCME. We would have to wait for the mayor to come in maybe the next board meeting, he can give us an update on the fire and police contract. Trustee House?
For the contract with AFSCME, we have, our last meeting was last week. Matt, was that Thursday? It was last week, Thursday. The AFSCME union presented their counter proposal. We discussed a couple of different talking points. I believe we're down to one or two items that are in debate. All other items are pretty much agreed to. Those items were to be given to the board in executive session so that we can talk through another proposal to AFSCME, which we will be giving to them this week by Thursday. And then we will continue and hopefully have this wrapped up shortly.
And that's the report for the update on the
H, purchasing of new fire engine. This was put on by Trustee Pearson.
We're going to table that. I make a motion to table that at this time.
Second.
It's been first and second.
Trustee Muhammad?
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs?
Aye.
Trustee House?
Aye.
Trustee Denton?
Aye.
Trustee Pearson?
Aye.
Trustee Henyard?
Aye.
6 ayes.
Motion carries.
Motion carries. Now we can go to new business. A, resolution number 17-022 relating to participation by elected official in the Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund. Ms. Johnson.
This is the special memo that was passed by the IMRF Board of Trustees back in February. It's the requiring of recertification of IMRF eligibility for all elected positions.
I make a motion to approve resolution number 17R-022.
Second.
It's been first and second. Can we get a roll call? Madam Clerk?
If there is no further discussion, Trustee Muhammad?
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs?
Aye.
Trustee House?
Aye.
Trustee Denton?
Aye.
Trustee Pearson?
Aye.
And Trustee Henyard?
Aye.
6 ayes. Motion carries. B, ordinance number 17-042, amending section 6547 of the Dolton Village Code to allow for the posting of additional handicap signs. Trustee, Mr. Thigpen, is he in?
I don't believe he's here this evening, but you do have his synopsis and supporting documents in your packet.
I make a motion to approve ordinance number 17-043.
Second.
It's been motion and second. Can we get a roll call? Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I'd just like to know, are these the, does anybody know if this is going to be with the permit numbers on them, or are these still using up some of the older?
They should fall under the permit number requirement.
Okay.
Any further questions?
Mr. Stacy, do you know if we have those yet?
Do we have the signs?
Yeah, we voted to change the signs to a permit, where they're going to have a permit number on them, so that whoever gets the sign.
I know we have signs, but Brian's going to have to fill me in with the numbers that are going to be put on there. I don't know how he wants the numbers, or if there's a certain numbering system he's got to go on it.
Okay.
But we can get the numbers put on it. That's
That's
not a
good.
problem.
I'd just like to make sure that's done before we put up any new ones. Thank you.
It's been first and second. Any further discussions? Madam Clerk?
Aye.
Trustee Muhammad?
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs?
Aye.
Trustee House?
Aye.
Trustee Denton?
Aye.
Trustee Pearson?
Aye.
Trustee Henyard?
Aye.
6.
6 carries. Next item on the agenda is item C, presentation by Spears Financial.
No, we got a TAW first.
Man,
That's C, yes.
I'm sorry, C.
Technology, touchscreen.
Okay, mine is different. Ordinance number C. Ordinance number 17-044, approving 1.1 million tax anticipation warrant, TAW, and that is by Ms. Redmond. I don't see her here.
I make a motion to pass ordinance number 17-044.
Second.
It's been motion and second. Any discussions?
Attorney, can you just give us an overview of that so everybody understands what we are voting for on that 1.1 tax anticipation?
Yes, this is a part of what was explained at the special meeting, part of the entire financing package. What this does is allow the village to borrow money immediately in anticipation of getting our first installment property taxes. Essentially, this is, in effect, it's a bridge loan to get us over the hump until the large infusion of property taxes come in March.
Okay.
Any more questions?
Trustee Muhammad?
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs?
Aye.
Trustee House?
Aye.
Trustee Denton?
Aye.
Trustee Pearson?
Aye.
Trustee Henyard?
Abstain.
5.
Five ayes. One abstain. Item number D, presentation Spear Financial Incorp. Trustee Muhammad.
Thank you. If we could have Ms. McKenzie to the rostrum, and what we're about to get is a presentation. Ms. McKenzie, when I was on a previous Finance Committee board, she came with another 3 persons or 3 organizations or companies to give their services as a municipal advisory or a more like a consultant, and she can of course articulate it much better than I'm doing up here, and she'll go through what she's done and what she can offer to bring our credit rating up, our bond rating up, and get us in the black and have residual monies in our account and in the bank. Ms. McKenzie, the floor is yours.
Thank you for having me. Good evening, everyone. My name is Rafaelita McKenzie. I work at Spear Financial. It's a financial consultant firm. I've been working there now for over 20 years, and I'm currently senior vice president there. There are 2 companies. We have one in Chicago and the other is in Iowa. We are a financial consultant firm, and what that means is we assist local governments in the issuance of bonds, whether it be to issue new debt or to refund existing bonds. We work with local governments such as school districts, park districts, municipalities such as yourself, counties. And what I have done tonight is I have provided everyone with a packet for a quick review of the work that Spear does and how we can help you or assist you in the issuance of debt or the improvement of your bond rating. As Trustee Muhammad mentioned, I came out here to meet with the previous board with another individual, Anthony Michelli. He's at another meeting tonight, so I'm here to do the presentation on my own. And so if you move to page 3, just to give you a quick overview of who we are. Spear Financial is a municipal advisor. As I mentioned, we work with communities such as Schaumburg, Elk Grove, Oak Park, and on this list, I have listed quite a few of the surrounding communities that we work with here in this area, such as Olympia Fields, South Holland, Matheson School District 162, the village of Matheson, Dolton Park, Flossmoor. We're all over. And so it talks about the fact that we've issued over 200 transactions a year for the last 5 years, and that's pretty much an average of what we have done and the work that we provide to local governments such as yourself. Moving to the next page, it basically talks about our ranking, and you can see where we are compared to our other competitors or other people or finance group who issue bonds themselves.
Okay, Ms. McKenzie, you're being very humble. You were ranked number 1.
I am. Yes,
and
we
for
are.
how many last years? You've held that for how many years?
We've held that, I don't think I've ever looked back, but as far as I know, we've held that number 1 spot for a very long time.
Yes, ma'am.
We're not a very big firm, and maybe about 18 people in the Chicago office and 4 people in the Iowa office, but I think that the work that we do speaks for itself. Our involvement in communities like yourselves, whether it be communities here on the south side or communities in, as I mentioned, in the northern suburban area, but we are all over Illinois. We do have clients as well in Michigan. We're very active in working with local governments. On page 5 of the presentation, it gives pretty much a summary of what we do in terms of management of the bond issuance process. And so, for example, I saw on your report you just did a TAW, whether it be a tax anticipation warrant or a tax anticipation note. We assist local governments with issuing those. My job and the way we work with our clients is we work with you from beginning through to the end. And so if the village is interested in issuing debt or refunding your existing debt or perhaps reviewing your disclosure requirements, making sure you're in compliance, whether it be with your financial statements or your audits, we work with you throughout the entire process from the beginning until the end of the document. And so let's take, for example, the issuance of debt. We will assist you in gathering the information, which is an offering document, which is provided to investors in the municipal market. And so our job is to not only do some debt planning for you based on whether it be a tax rate planning or whether it be that you are refunding debt because you would like to have some savings, or whether you want to extend debt because there is some financial hardship. And so we're able to model, so to speak, financial plans that are suitable to you. And in doing so, we put together offering documents that you, the village, are responsible for in terms of the information that is provided. We look at the local community, the taxpayers. You talk about your tax collections tonight, your financial statements, the employers within the community. So we look at everything, the census, your socioeconomic information. We look at everything about the village, put that together, and then once this packet is put together, we're then able to determine where you are and what needs to happen in terms of how the bonds get sold. Whether, in this case, it would be on a competitive basis because of a number of reasons. And of course, because we have done some research on the village, so we do know where you stand in terms of your rating, and that's provided in the packet as well. Where you stand in terms of your rating and disclosure requirements and preparation of your financial statements. And so on page 5, again, it's just a summary of some of the things we do. The preparation of the document all the way through to the end, which is the closing of the document to the delivering of funds, or if it's a new money bond issue, or if it's a refunding, the placement of those funds into an escrow account. Page 6 is a review, or rather an analysis and research that we had done about the village at the time when we came out.
Okay.
And so
Here,
it highlights a number of,
can't hear.
page 6 highlights a number of factors such as your audited financial statements, the status of those audits at this time, continuing disclosure filings, your tax base, which is based on the equalized assessed valuation. Thank you. Thank you. Your tax base, which is based on the equalized assessed valuation, or, and I know for some people, if you look at your tax bill, that's pretty much a part of the calculation of the tax rate and the taxes that gets paid within Cook County and within your village. But again, if the village choose to move forward, this page 6 just gives a bit of a summary as to some of the things that we need to look at for the village, and some of our recommendations in terms of getting a tax escrow set up with your local bank or your registrar and paying agent that is currently listed on your existing debt. And so just moving along, page 7 again continues to highlight the village's position in terms of bond rating, where you are, and what you would need to do. And so in this packet, we did put in an example of another municipality that was in a similar position as Dolton, with whom we have worked and with whom we are currently working for, and have helped to issue debt and to get them in a better financial position. We, in addition to the example provided here, we also had another client, which is not very far from here actually, who had issued bonds and got themselves in a position where they couldn't afford the next debt payment on those bonds. And so we were able to work with them to not only get those bonds sold. It did take a lot of work, and they don't have a rating, and they were late on their financials, so pretty much some of the same similarities, but we were able to work with them, and now they are on track and trying to retain or get that rating back and try to get themselves in a much better financial position. And so this document is just, again, a summary of who we are, what the type of work that we do, and what we can do for you. We are a municipal advisor, and so... Sure. Yes, we are a municipal advisor, and so our job is to work directly with local governments. There are no conflicts of interest. So our job is to work with you and to get the best possible financing for you, whether it be for a refunding issue or the issuance of new debt. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Any questions?
Yes, Ms. McKenzie, could you inform the board how you are paid for your services as a municipal advisor for the village of Dolton?
We are paid whenever there is a bond issue. So if there's, and that means the bond issue had to have been priced. So if there's no bond issue, we don't get paid. Because again, the payment typically occurs, or rather the bonds are sized in such a way to pay the municipal advisor, which is us. And so though we get payment only at that one time, our service to you continues throughout the year. You may only issue bond today and you don't issue again for another 5 years. We don't get paid until you issue bonds again, but it doesn't mean that you can't call on us to answer questions for you or to assist you, or in some cases, I'm not sure if you've gone through, when you did have your rating, go through the surveillance period with the rating agencies. We're available to get on the phone with you, to go over the rating analysis with you, to be there with you when the rating agencies reach out to you, and to assist you in answering some of those questions. And another part of our service, which is separate from a regular bond issuance, is our service as municipal advisors who provide disclosure services. And what that means is, as a village, you have certain obligations to disclose your financial statements and any, they're called events, that has occurred during the time that you have issued these debt. What are some of those events? Some of those events could be a downgrade or an upgrade in your rating, or a default on a payment, or there are a list of them. And so our job would be to assist you in not only making those report on the system, it's an EMA system now where you can go and gather any information you need on debt, but we would assist you in preparing the documents that are required on an annual basis. And there's typically a small fee for that, somewhere around $1,500 or so, to prepare that annually. But again, aside from that, we don't get paid unless there's a bond issue.
Okay, and your liaison to us would be, I would assume, the finance department / village administrator. Who is the persons that you would be in contact on a regular basis to make this happen?
The finance director. Okay. You talked about a village administrator to hire, or the manager. Anyone who can help us to prepare the documents and give us the information that we need, whether it be the financial statements, your budget, or building permits, any information that we would need to put together in the offering document for investors.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further questions, trustees?
I'd like
you so much.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the services of Spear Financial Services.
Second.
Also, for further discussion, we will be adding 2 other committees. One of the committees that will be added will be the committee for the Melanie Fitness Center, and the other committee, I believe, Trustee Pearson, you want to elaborate on that committee you want to add or enhance in one of the current committees that we discussed? Business development?
Yeah, we need to enhance what type of business is coming to our community, and they just need to go before this board so that we know what's going on with businesses that come here. Right now, we don't have a committee that's active in saying yes or no. You know, right now, if a strip club decided to come here, we wouldn't even know it, because we're not doing things the way that it should be done. So I think that we need to get active, make sure we know what's zoned in our community. We don't have a very active zoning board, so we should take a look at that over the next couple weeks and know what's going on in our community.
I agree.
Yes, let me dovetail on that, because one of the other complaints that I get from residents is, why do we have so many payday loan places? And of course, there are villages that don't allow that, and they have to come before a board to be approved to come into the village, and we have to start taking stock of the types of businesses. And we are thankful that we had the grand opening of City Trends. Is that what it was? I don't know if you all have been there, but we should support it, or any new business such as City Trends, which is a family store. But those are the types of businesses that we need to come into the village of Dolton. We have enough liquor stores, we have enough lounges, we have enough video gaming, we have enough kiosks. We need to get some business that we can reap the benefit of sales taxes, where our families can also enjoy those businesses. And I think that committee that you're referring to, Trustee, would be ideal for this community. And along with the Melanie Fitness Center, because we're doing some upgrades on that center, there's some things that we're working on, and right now they do not have a committee, and we've been getting a lot of complaints about the Melanie Fitness Center, so we plan in a few weeks to make some drastic improvements over at the Melanie Fitness Center under that new committee.
I would like to also state, if you're finished, Trustee Muhammad,
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to also state that, Matt, maybe you might be able to chime into this. In the old Village Hall is some plans down there that the village paid for years ago for the planning committee and things that, the vision for this community. Is it any way possible you could maybe bring them up here so we can take a peep at them when you get an opportune moment?
Yeah, I could go over there and check on those.
Thank you, because we would like to look at their plans, since we already paid for the plans some years ago, to take a look at it and see what our prior administrations had spent all this money on to put plans together for this community. At least let us.
Thank you, Mayor Pro-Temp, Clerk, Board of Trustees, and department heads and residents. Of course, you know that Coffee with the Mayor is coming up this Saturday. In honor of Veterans Day, we have a speaker from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, Mr. George Aponte, who's going to be there to give us information. So if you have anyone who is a veteran who is in need of services, or any of your family members, please invite them out. We'll also have Attorney Mario Reed, who is the Public Information Officer from the Cook County Recorder of Deeds, who's going to be there. If you've ever heard any of his presentations previously, you know he has a lot of information, good information for homeowners, landowners, and anyone who might be dealing with property issues. He'll answer all of your questions, and he'll also bring the forms that we always talk about in terms of what you do with your property after death. So if you have been asking questions about that, he'll be there to answer. We'll also give you an update on the American Cancer Society fundraising that we've been doing over the past month. Want to remind you about Tuesday, November 21st from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Of course, everyone is invited to the senior Thanksgiving dinner that has become a tradition. It's here in the village of Dolton. Everyone is invited. It'll be at the Dorchester Banquet Facility at 1515 East 154th Street for senior Dolton residents with ID. We're asking that you RSVP by calling 708-201-1690 by Friday, November 17th, in order to guarantee your seat and those who you are RSVPing for. We also have coming up the tree lighting ceremony on Saturday, November 25th, 14014 Park Avenue. There will be hot chocolate, hot cider, and warm cookies, and also a special performance by the Thornridge High School Marching Band. So that is again at 5:30 Saturday, November 25th. And I will ask Chief of Staff Scott to talk to us about our winter coat drive.
Good evening, how are you?
Good evening, everybody. How you doing? I just had a quick question that I don't know if I heard the right thing, and I know each one of you are determined to make the village better. And, you know, one thing that I did hear, I thought I heard Trustee Muhammad, did you say when you were talking about the grant writers that you had 2 presentations this evening for grant writers?
Originally, we had 2. The other one had a scheduling conflict.
Okay, so if they had a scheduling conflict, then so that means that that person was not going to be given the opportunity to make a proposal. So if I'm understanding correctly, the board already agreed to accept the young lady based on the documentation that she presented this evening. And I take exception to that because the documentation that was presented, if I'm understanding correctly, was from 2013. So when you took the vote, you voted on items that occurred or appeared in documentation that was 4 years old, and I did not hear anyone say with the necessary corrections. So if you knew that there was a second, would that not have been fair to table that?
Answer your first question. I'll let
Okay.
Trustee House answer your concern with the other grant writer. But if you were listening, you heard me say that we would make revisions on the 2013 contract, such as the dates, but everything therein was basically the same. The clerk also has the record, and she also has a note from the trustee that contract will be revised. So it's not going by the 2013. The only thing different in the 2013 agreement was the dates. But the services are the same, the cost of doing business is the same.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I
Trustee
did hear
House
you say that, but I didn't hear it said when the vote was taken. And I was just curious because I didn't know if this was a no bid. You know, I don't know if that's the correct term.
No, that's
but
not
you-
the correct term.
Okay,
That's-
well, you
that's-
did say, well, that's why we have you to, you know, keep things straight.
Okay, let's answer your other question concerning the other grant writer, and Trustee House will
Right.
respond to that.
And
Okay.
if I can, there was actually an RFP put out for this opportunity. There were a couple that did apply. The one that was unable to make a scheduling conflict also had notification of it approximately 3 months or so ago. So the scheduling conflict, while we do understand that, I think as a board we decided we wanted to move forward.
Okay. Same thing applies to Spear Financial. Would that be the same? Only one presentation?
Again, there were 4 presentations done. She was the best of the 4 that came forward, and she was the one that we wanted the residents and the new board members to hear again.
Okay.
But there were 4 persons that came before the Finance Committee earlier this year or later last year that did a presentation at a previous finance meeting that I happened to be a member on that committee, and I felt that she offered such a great service at a low price to the village that she should come in and do a presentation again.
Okay, well,
We've reached our 3-minute mark.
that's good. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Creighton.
Good evening. I have 2 questions. I can ask them both at the same time. I don't want to violate my 3 minutes. How do you want me to do it?
You can ask, go ahead.
One at a time?
Yes, one at
Okay.
a time. That'd be fine.
Just to, the previous speaker kind of hit on what I wanted to talk about a little bit, is the accountability piece. Thank you for letting us know that on the, under old business F, there was an RFP. My question is on new business D, was there also an RFP?
Let me answer that, Mr. Creighton. Again, the persons came before a committee meeting, a finance committee meeting last year. And it was submitted also to the board at that time, and there was no decision made. And this is a new board, so it was presented to the new board.
Okay, and I certainly don't want to be obstinate, and I don't want to cause any confusion, but in 3 years, things change, okay? And I think what would have been proper was just to issue a new RFP. This individual may have been the best, but also keep in mind that, you know, we have to have accountability, you know, and part of that accountability is that we must do things proper. Just because, you know, that individual was the best at that time does not mean today that things have not changed and there's a better. You know, I know we can't reverse things, but when you do things like you've done tonight, it does leave the board open to some sort of skepticism. I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I'm just saying that properly, we should have just really sent out another RFP, and I think everybody would have been satisfied with that. Also, my second question is on the new business item A. Was there an explanation on what that resolution really is? Because I'm not sure what it is.
That's our,
The elected officials belong to, and most village employees are in Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund, IMRF. The IMRF allows elected officials to participate,
Okay.
provided that they certify every year that they spend at least 600 hours a year on village business. That's
Okay.
not simply board meetings, but all village-related business. So that's, by approving that, that's what the board voted on.
Okay. So, once again, it just substantiated the fact that they are putting in the $600? Is that what it was?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
To,
thank you
you know,
very
for
much.
pension purposes, so so they get the creditable service.
Thank you very much.
I think I put it more.
You guys do more.
But I am a citizen, and I came to the meeting tonight because I wanted to give Dolton a compliment. I was on the website a few weeks ago. I had never been on the website before, and there's an area on there that says report a problem. So I put in there what my concern was, and which was a huge pothole that was on the corner of Meadow Lane and Sibley. And so I put it in there not expecting that it would get a response or anything, or at least not anything immediate. But Public Works called me within a week. I spoke with Angie from Public Works, and she explained that it wasn't actually a Dolton issue because where it is Sibley is a state road. So she said it's a state issue, and she had contacted the proper personnel, and she said if it's not resolved in a week, give me a call. So that was on a Thursday. The following Thursday, I gave the office a call, left a message, and saying that the hole isn't filled. I mean, it had people had put the orange, whatever you call it there, and somebody had put gravel over it, but it still was a huge hole, and quite dangerous actually. So anyway, left the message on Thursday, but on Friday the hole was filled, and I called the office back on that following Monday, and I complimented her on such a quick response that Public Works was doing. I was quite impressed, because the hole had been there for a while, and like I said, I just happened to go on the website and report a problem. I wasn't expecting for that immediacy to occur, but she said that she and her colleagues within the office are really putting forth the effort to make sure whatever things come across their desk.
You could have 3 more minutes. No, I'm just kidding. Good evening, Ms. Creighton. How are you?
Good evening. I'm fine. To the board this evening, my question would be, thank you for inviting us for our support, our assistance on December the 1st. But my question was going to be, after the candy giveaway, was that, remember a few months ago, there was a special events committee put together, I thought. And has the special events committee been, sorry, Edward. Has the special events committee been active?
Yes. Actually, the announcement that you heard tonight, that December 1st for the children, is under the Special Events Committee.
And if I'm not mistaken, you're on that committee.
Okay, I asked to be on the committee for the special events, and I've heard nothing, so that's why when you stated you
are on it.
Okay.
Okay. We're going to have a meeting shortly. I was just actually trying to secure the place.
Right, I understand that, but I was just asking because of working, I thought I offered my services to be a part of the special events committee.
Absolutely.
And my other comment would be, and if we could look at the packets of the individuals that presented this evening, is that, or do we have to FOIA that information from each of the presenters that presented this evening?
If you fill out the FOIA form, Mrs. Creighton, that's mainly just to keep a record of who's requesting what, but it shouldn't take any time at all.
Okay, so I can get packets of information that was presented this evening. Thank you. Also, there was a question asked about the senior Thanksgiving dinner. Is that sponsored through the mayor and the trustees? I know it was asked, I think Trustee Henyard asked where the money was coming from, but because normally doesn't the trustees, and since we began it, you guys help serve.
Right.
Is that sponsored with the mayor and the trustees? Is that a event collectively?
Let me answer the best of my ability, and then somebody else can chime in. We have a budget for special events and affairs, which comes out of the budget. The question was asked, where's the money coming from? And I heard that the mayor is paying for it. I don't know if they were talking about the Thanksgiving dinner for the seniors. My understanding, that came out of the budget, but maybe that's changed. I don't know.
So it is a line item, budget item, or no?
We have budgeted special events,
Right.
and that was one of them. that I know of, since I've been a trustee for 2 years, unless that's changed. But I don't know if that was the question to the event for the seniors Thanksgiving.
Yes, it was.
Or not.
And Elizabeth, did you not say that you guys paying for that? Is that that was the comment, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
We also had the fall candy giveaway, which was last Monday. That was strictly funded from donations that I solicited. So we're trying to just solicit as much money as possible to save the village money.
Okay, so that's your answer, Ms. Creighton. It's through the mayor's department. It don't come out of the budget. They paying for it themselves for the senior dinner, the
But
Thanksgiving dinner.
the mayor and the trustees are all working together, right?
I agree.
And we're past the 3-minute mark.
Okay, so do I sit down and come back up? No, I'm saying for another 3 minutes. I meant no disrespect to anybody. That was just a question, because I do have to do that at the school board meeting if you don't answer, if I run out of time. But my next question was concerning the SROs in School District 205, preferably at Thornridge High School.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
The SROs, our officer that's at Thornridge High School. It came up at our finance meeting on last Tuesday concerning the SROs, and I hope that you guys are available to come to the school board meeting tomorrow evening, because they're due to replace the SROs at Thornridge High School, I know for sure, with a, is that a state Cook County Sheriff.
What time, Ms. Creighton?
The meeting starts at 6:30, and it is a part of the agenda. And we also asked had they spoken with our chief, and they stated no, but I wanted to understand why the SRO at Thornridge would be replaced with the state police. So if you could, the meeting at Thornridge High School is a school board meeting tomorrow evening.
Is it a state police or Cook County Sheriff?
Cook County Sheriff.
Okay.
Cook County Sheriff, but at any rate, Cook County Sheriff at high school. Okay. So if you are available, I'm asking for the trustees and whomever residents to attend the meeting tomorrow evening. We don't understand. That is a $12 million budget that they're taking upon themselves to spend as they see fit. And there's no question about how it is or how it affects us. And we're the taxpayers. Thank you.
Good evening.
Stan Brown, off Dante, Mayor Pro Tem. Yes, sir. Mayor Pro Tem and Village Board. I'd just like to throw a couple of things out. I'm looking at item C in new business, approving of a 1.1 million tax anticipation warrant to the new board members. We took out a 2.7 million tax warrant about 2 years ago, and that's 2.7, and now you guys are adding the 1.1 million with that. We steady looking at spending money out, and what are we doing to get that new revenue in? So that's something too that it would have been fair to let the new board members know we already did a 2.7 million tax exempt, and that money is still sitting out there, and we just add more on there. So just a little information for the new board members that didn't know about that. So we just ran up to about almost $4 million, and we don't have any type of revenue coming in, not unless some type of new revenue has came in that we wasn't told about. So right now, we just digging ourselves more and more in debt. So that's unfair to you new board members that just voted on that. And just a little touch on Thorn Township Holiday Dinner, Saturday, December the 9th, from 12 to 4. Doors open at 11:30 a.m. at South Suburban College. Everything is free and a lot of fun and food. On one dim note, Thorn Township has a Christmas tree lighting every year, and it brings all the 17 municipalities together. And I think we're going to be bumping heads with the village that's going to be doing a tree lighting November the 25th. And we'll be there competing with other municipalities such as Blue Island, Burnham, Calumet City, Dixmoor, East Hazelcrest, Glenwood, Harvey, Hazelcrest, Homewood, Lansing, Markham, Phoenix. And most of the time, it's people from all these different municipalities will come and light their tree, and it's always good to have a good crowd there to show the representation of your village. So it's bad we working at the same time. The village is going to light their tree and out there. So I hope we get enough people to come out there and represent Dolton at the Thornton Township Christmas tree light. So I do have some flyers. I'll leave them here. But I just wanted the new board member to understand when you're voting on certain things, if you're not for certain, you want to at least ask that the board please give you a chance to read up on it, because you want to make the right decision. And right there, we just dug a deeper hole, ladies and gentlemen. Deep hole. Thank you.
If I can briefly, Commissioner Brown, Trustee Brown.
Right.
Yes.
Come on back.
No, he may come get me if he had to come back. No, I was aware of the 2.7 million that we did, and also the 1.1 million that we just did, and I think it's kind of a tricky scenario we were put in. Some of the 2.7 has already been paid back, so we're not up to $4 million. We have done different revenue raising things, which included the special board meeting with the taxes that we just had to work to offset it. We are in a precarious place because we are facing $3 to $4 million worth of bills that are coming up December 1st. So we need to make sure we have cash in the bank for payroll and other essential items. So I don't know if I can speak for the rest of the board, but our immediate cash need is what kind of precipitated me voting for that. While we don't want to borrow our way out of debt, we are looking to do revenue raising things at the same time, making sure that we can make sure that the employees are taken care of.
And that's in all fairness. And just to take us back a couple of years, we were told by the then village administrator that $2.7 million will actually sit there. We wouldn't spend it. We were just trying to build up our credit rating. And it was thrown out that we want to make sure we get some salt for the snow. Just so happened it didn't snow. So it should have still been some money sitting up there. So it's good if something has been paid back. I don't know what type of super revenue that we put together to get that money back in there, but I'm just looking at the way we steady borrowing. We borrowing and we borrowing, and that's totally unfair. And just to say the village administrator then that told us that money was actually going to sit there, I never heard anything when he went in there and took some money out to pay whatever we were able to pay. That was never revealed to us. So I was under the assumption that 2.7 million was still there. So that's kind of unfair. And just a little add on that. I'm moving, Chief. I'm moving. In all fairness, also, we're looking for a village administrator, but right now we do have a village chief of staff. So a village administrator, chief of staff. We get a little top heavy around here, so we need to look at that also. Thank you.
If I can say this one thing, Commissioner Brown, Trustee Brown, the money that was spent, it was spent on the raises because they had contracts out here for 5 years. You had Public Works, you had the police, not Public Works, I'm sorry. You had the police department, and you had the fire department that had their contracts out for 5 years. That's where the bulk of that money went to, because they didn't calculate it. When we borrowed the money, we was unaware of that they had these people out here, and we had to satisfy their contract because they was due raises. So that's where the bulk of that money went. Well, we were told after the fact, but not before the fact, before they spent the money, before the money was spent.
But in all fairness, we need to know when that money gets spent like this. We stay borrowing. We doing these tax anticipation notes, and we steady getting deep and deep in debt.
Kiana Belcher, Evans Court. First, I'd like to commend the Public Works because we have some neighbors in our cul-de-sac, and they have trash like everywhere, but every time the Homewood disposal come, the Public Works make sure that they clean our cul-de-sac, so I want to commend them on that. But I have a question, because when you guys were talking about the report for Public Works, they said something about tree trimming. I have a tree that's in front of my house that I guess would be considered a village tree. What are the criterias of like dead trees or getting it trimmed? Because when I had a tree in my yard, I just had to pay $3,700 to get it cut down because it was so big and going over to my neighbor's yard. But the tree that's, I guess, would be considered owned by the village or
On the
city
parkway.
property, yeah, on the parkway. What is the criteria of having it at least, if not cut down, trimmed?
You can call Public Works and have
Okay.
them to come out and take a look at it to see is it diseased, to see is it dead. And I'm sure they have no problem coming out. I believe I gave the number, but you already
Yeah,
called. You
I
have the
know.
number.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.